Let's just jump right in because we have all absolutely been there. You know the drill. You sit down at your computer, coffee in hand, totally determined to conquer the day. But 3 hours later, you haven't actually checked off a single to-do item. Instead, you've completely redesigned your digital workspace, color-coded your calendar, and somehow linked 3 different databases together. Well, welcome to tool fatigue. In today's explainer, we're unpacking what's known as the productivity illusion trap. We're going to figure out how to stop endlessly setting up our apps and, start actually getting our work done. So I want to trigger a little immediate self-reflection here. Ask yourself, right now, are you actually working or are you just organizing? Because honestly, it is incredibly easy to confuse motion with real progress. We feel busy, right? Our brains give us this nice little dopamine hit because we're clicking and typing away. But when the day ends, the actual needle hasn't moved an inch. Productivity expert Tiago Forte, who created the PAR method, really hit the nail on the head with this realization. He says, most of what we call organizing is essentially disguised procrastination. And wow, doesn't that sting a little? We tell ourselves we're just preparing or researching, but really, we're just polishing up a system to avoid executing a task we're probably dreading. Building endless dashboards is just a really clever, productive-feeling place to hide from real work. Okay, let's officially kick off Section 1, the productivity illusion. Let's talk about the concept of friction. Tools like Notion offer us this absolutely incredible, limitless flexibility. You can build literally anything. But let's be real, how many times have we all spent 45 minutes obsessing over Notion fonts instead of actually doing our jobs? If you build an intricate database where every single task requires you to fill out 5 different tags, link a relation, and set a specific status, you've just created a massive barrier to entry. All that friction, it directly delays the actual execution of the task itself. Which leads us perfectly into Section 2, the overcomplication trap. Think about the difference between a tool like Evernote and a tool like Notion. Evernote is like the simple drawer. You just pull it open, toss your thought inside, shut it, and rely on lightning-fast search to find it later. High speed, extremely low friction. Notion, on the other hand, is like an empty apartment. Sure, it gives you infinite structural freedom to design exactly what you want, but you literally have to build the furniture yourself before you can sit down. If your only goal is to quickly jot down a note, building the apartment first is a huge waste of time. And this brings us to a harsh reality check. A seasoned user on Reddit recently shared this painfully relatable advice. They said, stop trying to make habit trackers. These things don't work and just give you more work than before. Tracking just for the sake of tracking creates a completely unnecessary administrative burden. You end up managing this software instead of actually managing your life. So what does this complication look like on a day-to-day basis? Let's look at our to-do lists. When you have what we call orphan tasks, that massive random list of totally disconnected items, it creates super high cognitive overload. And because of that overload, those tasks are usually just ignored. But when you nest tasks directly under a specific project, you suddenly give them context. They become clear, they become focused, and they're incredibly easy to act upon because you understand exactly what larger goal they're actually serving. Let's shift gears to Section 3, organizing for action. Going back to Tiago Forte, let me introduce you to his PARA method. It's a system that categorizes your digital information entirely by its level of actionability. It breaks the whole shebang down into projects, areas, resources, and archives. The absolute magic here is that you're organizing your digital space based on the actions you need to take right now, not by those broad school-like subjects like psychology or marketing, where, let's be honest, you'll never find anything when you actually need it. There's a very stark contrast between an area and a project. An area of responsibility, like health or hiring, has an infinite timeline. It literally never ends. Waking up every single day to an endless list feels heavy and it's super demoralizing. But a project? A project has a clear goal and a strict deadline, like hire one designer. By taking your endless areas and breaking them down into specific, achievable projects, you give yourself a horizon line. You finally get a real sense of progress, which is absolutely crucial because progress is the ultimate driver of human motivation. Moving right along to Section 4, simple systems that work. If you want to escape the trap, here's a minimalist setup strategy from power users in the community. First, stick to a single, unified dashboard so you aren't constantly clicking through endless pages. In fact, many experts suggest relying on just 2 basic databases, tasks and a journal. That's really it. Avoid those complex, interconnected databases unless they're absolutely vital.
Hide anything you aren't actively using in an archive folder to kill visual clutter. And please, use pre-built templates. Just bypass the setup time entirely and get straight to work.
Okay, so here's what an action-oriented workflow looks like in practice. It's a dead simple 3-step drag and drop system. Step 1, create dedicated pages for your active projects. Step 2, when a new task pops into your head, drag it directly onto the relevant project. And finally, when you're planning your day, just drag those tasks out of the project and drop them directly onto your daily calendar to execute. No complicated database sorting, no heavy tagging, just visual, frictionless focus on today's goals.
This all aligns perfectly with what's known as the 5-minute productivity system. It's a minimalist approach that literally restricts your planning time to just 5 minutes. By relying on simple time blocking and basic planners, you eliminate the luxury of endlessly tweaking your setup. Think about it. Systems that strictly limit your planning time are almost always the most effective because they forcefully push you right out of preparation and into execution mode.
And that brings us to our final part, Section 5, returning to actual work. The secret sauce here is establishing routine digital housekeeping habits so things don't get messy again. First up, archive your finished projects immediately so they stop visually cluttering up your workspace. Delete those empty pages and drafts you know for a fact you're never going to finish. Also, don't be afraid to continually update your templates by stripping out the sections you never actually fill in. Group your active entries by status to keep things tight, and critically clear your favorite sidebar of literally everything except your absolute daily essentials. If you take away just one core philosophy from this entire explainer, please let it be this. The ideal organizational system is one that gives you time back, not one that takes it away. Your tools are there to serve your productivity. They're supposed to clear your mind and propel you forward. If you find that you are serving the tool, then the system is broken. So I'm going to leave you with one final, provocative challenge. Take a hard look at your setup today. Identify just one piece of friction you can completely eliminate. But more importantly, will you close your planner, break the illusion of productivity, and tackle your most important task right now? The tools are ready. Now it's your turn. Thanks for diving into this with me, and I'll see you next time.